Once upon a time there was a small kingdom called Hardia. In the palace lived Princess Poppy, who never went anywhere without her precious rabbit. She lived with her little sister Princess Daisy, who loved to shout and dance, her wise mother, the Queen, who enjoyed magic and accountancy, and her father, King Ding, who loved gold and having a good time. There was but one rule in Hardia. Every day you should have as much fun as possible. Everything was perfect until one day the Queen was in the counting house, counting out her money, while the King was in the parlour, eating bread and honey. When the piggy bank was opened, she found only buttons and string, so she went to take the pile of bills to set before the King. Later that day, beyond the palace walls and the gate, an evil witch learned of the kingdom's financial state. She pulled on her boots, grabbed her wallet and her keys, jumped on her broomstick and flew into the breeze. Early next morning when the witch arrived, "Open up and let me in!" at the gate she cried. She demanded to speak with the King and the Queen.
"I have a business proposition and I simply must be seen."
The witch, it seemed, was wealthy, but nothing in life was free. She wanted a princess to marry her son, who was hideous as can be. "No," said Princess Poppy, "and again I say no. I'm not getting married to solve our cash flow."
"Is that your final answer?"
asked the angry witch.
"In that case I shall curse you until you will get hitched. I'll take away your rabbit, so you cannot sleep, and trap your entire family within this castle keep."
If only the Queen could think of a scheme. To rescue the rabbit, she needed a team. "Fetch my bow," she called to the fool, "and 3 magic arrows and 1 magic spool." To the first arrow she tied a royal decree. She spoke an enchantment and let it fly free. The arrow flew deep into the woods and landed near where a woodcutter stood. The note read, "Come to the palace as quick as you can. The princess is in trouble and I have a plan." The Queen strung another and prepared to let fly, but the fool jogged her arm and it shot into the sky. Up into the clouds the arrow flew. Where it would land, nobody knew. Admittedly, the jester was no one's first pick, but at least he was brave, if a little bit thick. Now the Queen strung the last of the 3. "Help them find rabbit and come back to me." To this arrow was tied a length of twine. They just had to follow it and return in good time. Before they began their perilous mission, the royals gave 3 gifts, as was the tradition. A magic bag to fulfill any appetite, a sword for the jester to make him a knight. From the king, a strange jar he won playing poker, that had once belonged to a practical joker. The woodcutter and jester bid the kingdom farewell, and set off to find rabbit and lift the spell. Meanwhile, the king had his own cunning idea. To the amazement of none, it involved drinking beer. "Citizens of Hardia, Princess Poppy is cursed to stay awake until such time as her rabbit is returned to her. And we are going to keep her company. I declare the biggest party ever! While the party raged hard back at the palace, the woodcutter and the fool were making good progress. Well, mostly good progress. The heroes followed the thread to the very depths of hell, and here they found the princess's rabbit, alive and well. With Rabbit rescued, all that remained was to take him back, retrace the thread, receive praise, and hit the sack. Everything was going exactly as planned, but what of the witch? And, oh boy, what's that in her hand? With no thread to follow, the adventurers were lost. You see, skipping geography has a terrible cost. The woodcutter took out the magic bag of food. Perhaps eating and drinking would lighten the mood. In the kingdom, too, the situation was bleak. Despite the big party, folk were falling asleep. Not the princess, of course. She must do without sleep. Unless, that is, she would marry the creep. So the witch was to win, after they'd gotten so far. Now just hang on a minute. They've remembered that jar. They put down the jar and wrenched off the lid, releasing a fairy, relieved that they did. Now then, lads, listen. For setting me free, you get one magic wish, so what'll it be? Ah, the royal rabbit. Let me guess. You're lost and need to return to the princess. Okay, boys, hold on to your hats. The wave of the wand will send you straight back. In the blink of an eye, the heroes were back. With a rabbit returned, Poppy ran off for a nap. The witch was defeated. The king cried, "Attack!" But one hero tripped over, and the other took a whack.
If I cannot buy this kingdom, then let there be bloodshed.
"Shh," said the princess. "It's time for my bed." I suppose now you're pondering the moral of this tale. Perhaps something about usury landing bankers in jail. No, that's not it. It's about getting out of the habit of going to bed while holding one's rabbit.
Our personalities clashed. Astrologically, believe me, we're the perfect match. Gastronomically, and as you lie there, only semi-age beside me. I have to tell you, my dear, I don't think I know what to believe. First thing that I noticed was your Sarah Records t-shirt, and all I wanted to do was rip those cherries off you. On this Friday night, in beguiling disguise, with delirious abandon, but not like you and I. And next Friday night, on these same dance floors, with half-hearted abandon, we head for the door. You seem to deftly predict all of my twisted intentions, subvert them with the subtlest of eyebrow inclinations. And as the hours pass and the light grows dim, the red wine flows, I have to tell you, my love, I don't think I know what you know. And when you are with me, it feels like School Disco circa 93. Still, all that I want to do is rip that t-shirt off you. On this Friday night, in beguiling disguise, with delirious abandon, but not like you and I. And next Friday night, on these same dance floors,